Hey everyone, in today's video we're going to be talking about why Halo Infinite is in the state it's currently in. Who is responsible for the game being the way it is for now? This is something I've been researching all year because I've been very curious about what happened with Halo Infinite. How long is it going to take to get the game where it needs to be? And what happened that led us to this point almost a year after launch, and still there isn't enough content regularly to keep the player base happy. Jez Corden, who leaked all the Halo Infinite Battle Royale information, and he's been a reliable source for all things Halo all throughout 2022. And what he's come out to say is that Chris Lee is more or less responsible for everything that went wrong with Halo Infinite. Now, Chris Lee was studio head of FPS game development, heading into the production of Halo Infinite. This is the role that Joe Staten now has, so he was fully in charge of Halo MCC, Halo 5, and Halo Infinite. Now, Jez goes on to say that the information communicated from him to Bonnie Ross was inaccurate. How inaccurate? Well, it was bad enough that he got fired for it. After the 2020 Halo Infinite presentation didn't go to plan and people weren't happy with what they saw, Joe Staten came in and Chris got moved to another job in Microsoft. Now, if what Jez said is correct and he lied about certain features and just overall how the game was going, and then the main leadership at 343 found out after the E3 presentation was shown, that would make total sense as to why the game had to get rushed out the door with the 1 year delay and why they delayed the game in the first place. Add in the global pandemic on top of that and you got a recipe for disaster. Now, the reason why that is so important is because Chris's decision to not accurately communicate is still impacting Halo Infinite today. So much had to get cut, rushed out the door, and put together last minute to get Halo Infinite in a working state to release holiday 2021. I'm going to go into more detail about why that is in just a second. You also have to keep in mind, if you have a studio head that is lying about the state of the game, that is going to hugely impact the overall workflow of the devs working below him, how the teams are communicating. If you have big issues at the top, that affects the entire team. Now, because of this decision to not communicate, to not say how the game was really doing, there was no other alternative but to delay the game for 1 year, because it just wouldn't have been ready. Which means 343 would have had to put together almost the entire game in a year's time, in a global pandemic, and to do so equaled huge crunch hours. And two, something that other developers will back me up on if they're watching this video, is the term technical debt. I've spoken about this a little bit on the channel already, but technical debt basically means shortcuts that are made during development to get a product out the door. However, if you want to make new iterations on that technology, once you've released it, it is very, very difficult. Imagine the top of a pyramid. You just want to take the top layer of the pyramid off, fix something, and put the top back on. But you can't do that. You have to go to the base of the pyramid and redo the whole way up, starting at where the root core problem is. And that is what 343 has been spending the majority of their resources on in the year of 2022. If they don't fix the base, they can't add the new stuff in the future. It gets even worse because Microsoft's stupid decision to only hire temporary contracted staff means that every new employee that comes to work on the game has to relearn, look at other people's code that they have no idea what it is, and spend ages trying to learn just what the hell they're looking at. And that is why Chris's decision to not communicate, that's put the whole studio under pressure, is why Halo Infinite is currently the way it is. Which is exactly why I've always said, it isn't the day-to-day devs who are at fault, it's usually someone at the top. Someone not doing what they're supposed to be doing, not leading from the front. And Joe Staten coming in is wonderful, but it's going to take time to actually see the fruition of him coming to join the studio. It also shows that even though Chris Lee had a huge mess up, he was able to move to a different position at Microsoft. This would mean that if 343 ever didn't work on Halo anymore, the only people that would be affected would be the day-to-day devs who work their asses off to try and make the game better, despite all the negative press the game's been getting at the moment. The higher ups aren't going to feel the pinch at all, and the super high Microsoft executives getting all the microtransaction money aren't going to care at all. So guys, that is going to wrap it up for today's video. Thank you to Jez for sharing this information, because it really was the final piece of the puzzle to put everything together as to why Halo Infinite is currently the way it is. I already knew from past testimony that there was a lot of technical debt that 343 had to fix before they can reiterate and make new content on top of the pre-existing content. It also perfectly fits in with Joe Staten's line of saying moving slow now to move fast in the future, and it also fits in with 343 saying we need this extra time now so we can do stuff faster later. Everything about it fits in perfectly. And I know 343 probably can't come out and say all of this publicly, which is exactly why videos like these are so important. So guys, thank you for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed today's video. I really tried to be as informative as possible to give you guys the information that I've found over months of searching. I know it's popular to hate on Halo Infinite at the moment. I know things aren't the way that we all want them to be. And I know 343's track record isn't good either. So I hope at the very least you learned something new. I hope you all enjoyed, and I'll see you guys later.